Well, guys, we have a really interesting rumor about Spider-Man to take us into this upcoming weekend. There are multiple reports surfacing online that a particular live-action Spider-Man could be making an appearance in an upcoming animated movie. Let's take a couple minutes to talk about Across the Spider-Verse, what's going on, and which MCU character just might appear. Well, before we dive into all this, guys, it could really have potential spoilers for the upcoming Across the Spider-Verse movie. So you have been warned. I don't want to ruin that movie for you, but this is a really interesting take. Now, we've learned recently that the fourth Spider-Man movie is now officially in development over at Marvel Studios, and there have been multiple reports that Tom Holland is not only set to reprise the role in that film, but several Avengers films, including Kang Dynasty, where apparently he'll lead the team. Now, Holland seems pretty busy in the role, but now we've got some more updates and another movie he might actually be appearing in. Now, this comes via Jeff Snyder over on the Hot Mic podcast, and we've cited him before as a source. He's a reporter for The Ankler, editor for Below the Line, and a film critic for LA Magazine, and has been the source of several scoops that turned out to be completely true. Now, what he's reporting on his podcast is that he has heard that there will indeed be a live-action Spider-Man in Across the Spider-Verse, and yes, that is Tom Holland. Now, what he's reporting from what he has heard is that Tom Holland will indeed be part of Sony Pictures' upcoming sequel, Across the Spider-Verse. Now, that would be news in itself, but the more interesting take is apparently he won't be just providing his voice. This will be the live-action version of the character in the movie. Apparently, Holland will show up as the wall crawler in live-action form when Miles Morales pays a visit to him in an alternate dimension. Now, there's not a lot of details about the scene, but Snyder has said that he would assume that this would be an animated version of Miles interacting with a live-action version of Tom. Best way to think of this is somewhat like Roger Rabbit. Additionally, he went on to say that he believes that this was the reason the movie was delayed last year. The contract negotiations were still going on with Tom Holland, and this gave them enough time for Holland to shoot these additional scenes and for them to be added to the movie. Now, like we said, this is a rumor, so it has to be taken with a grain of salt. But honestly, Snyder tends to be a pretty reliable source. So I have to go out on a limb and say here there's a pretty good chance that Tom Holland really does indeed make an appearance in Across the Spider-Verse. Now, I have to say, this is an epic win for Sony, getting a little more control of the MC version of Spider-Man, even if it's just to make him appear in their own animated film. It does once again make you ponder the questions of where Tom could show up again and some of the other Spider-Man movies that are being sorted out right now in the Sony Spider-Verse. Honestly, the lack of Spider-Man in their projects does impact the final product, and many fans, myself included, really think Sony probably needs to either settle on their own Spider-Man or work something out with Marvel so they can share Tom. Obviously, the storylines can't cross over in some areas, but it really shouldn't be too hard for a writer's room to develop some synergy between the two organizations and help plot some sort of path that works for everybody. Now, Into the Spider-Verse Part 1 drops on June the 2nd, while Part 2 doesn't come out until March 29th, 2024. This movie is going to be huge for Sony. It was massive last time, and it was a really great movie. For many fans, they consider Into the Spider-Verse as the best Spider-Man movie ever, so there's a high bar set, and I think Tom Holland could very well help them get over it. But we'll have to wait and see.